address a couple of comments here and maybe go through some comments. We can get a few in on this, but most of this, a lot of this is really nonsensical to me. I'm getting a lot of comments from people that I think it's so minimal. It really just doesn't make sense. And the first one being this one here. I'll try to put it on the screen if I can. But it's from Eric. He says, "This is exactly why bowling is going down the drain." Stop, pause there. First of all, bowling has only been increasing. I'm not really sure. This opinion to me is just crazy. These people think bowling's going down the drain because league bowling has been declining. League bowling's been declining because of the older generation. They're not bowling 5 leagues a week anymore. They just aren't doing it. And that was a lot of what had to do with why league was so big. You had people who were bowling multiple nights a week. And you still have some that do that, but most don't. And actually where we're seeing the pickup is more people are participating in open play and joining a lot of the fun leagues than anything. So you're seeing a lot of these centers putting a lot more time and effort into the fun leagues where it's just all about beer and pizza and having fun than it is any of these scratch tournament leagues or, the big handicap money leagues, which in my opinion, I don't think leagues should have prize money in the first place, but that's a whole completely different other discussion that we don't even want to get into because bowlers have been so spoiled over the years because of how we've done things that you can't turn it around now. And so you've got people that say stuff like this. Most people can't afford to be nickel and dimed any more than they already are with the depression-style hyperinflation going on. I agree. Hyperinflation, everything that's happened has sucked. It's awful. But you're talking about nickel and diming in places that they haven't raised their lineage, or most mom and pop centers have kept everything the same for a long time when they should have been raising them a long time ago. Everybody's lineage should have been higher. People are complaining that they're paying more than $250 a game. You should. You have any idea what it costs to run these lanes? To put the electricity on, to put the oil on the lanes, to run that machine? You know how much those lane machines cost? Then you got people that complain because the lanes aren't ran every single day and they're not fresh for you to go practice on. I don't think you guys realize how much this stuff actually costs to run and operate. So when you complain about a 25-cent increase in your dues or whatever, especially when it's something like USBC, where it goes from, $22 to $23, everybody's all in an uproar. Oh my gosh, we already don't get anything for our money. What are we going to do? What are they going to do with that extra dollar? They're going to put it towards the things, or at least they should be putting it towards the things that help. I think somebody had made the mention about, USBC, upping their fees a couple of dollars and putting it towards the PBA and all that. Like, you guys look at that, like robbing from, there was somebody else that said, what was it? It was robbing from the bowlers to give to the pros. Like, what? Like, come on. You guys not realize how important it is to have a good, well-represented professional elite field, like an elite organization? Do you guys not realize how important that is for bowling as a whole? If people are seeing bowling and seeing it as a viable sport, as something that is amazing, where people can go out and get scholarships, which that's not advertised enough as it is, and people can go and they can make money as a professional bowler and they can make a living, how much more people are going to go bowling? How much more people are going to go practice? How much, like look at golf. How many people go and sit at a golf course, just sitting at driving ranges all day, spending however many dollars per bucket of balls to go practice? Like, it's kind of obscene, some of these people who will spend a ton, hundreds and hundreds of dollars a week just to go to the range to try to get better, because there is that opportunity to make really good money as a professional golfer, or to play in college, or whatever it may be that you want to do. We're looking so small-minded now. Bowlers are so small-minded when it comes to short-term thinking. It's ridiculous. They can't think long-term. They can't think of how doing these things can help the sport in the long run. You can't think of how Bolero doing these things or the PBA doing these things for bowling helps in the long run. All we want to talk about is how the one time we went to a Bolero center, it was super dirty. I agree. I don't want to go into a dirty center. I'm a league bowler. Well, I used to be, but I'm a competitive bowler. I like to bowl in clean places and all that. I agree. Places should be clean. But that doesn't mean you just give up your, support of bowling or of Bolero just because, oh my gosh, my lanes broke down once, or oh my gosh, they kicked out this league. And like, do you not understand that these things are business decisions? And now that they're trying to give league bowlers something and be more for league bowlers, people are still trying to throw a fit about it. Like, I really honestly, I don't understand where some people's heads are at with this entire thing. It's hard to see so many negative comments from people over a couple of dollars. Well, we're being nickel and dimed. You haven't been nickeled and dimed for years, and you still complained. And now that they're actually doing what they should be doing by raising their lineage and getting the money they should be getting for this, you're going to complain? You know who the first center that closes is? The center that doesn't adapt, the center that doesn't raise their lineage, the center that doesn't put money back into the center. Look at all the closed centers. Which ones are they? They're the ones that didn't do anything. They're the ones that didn't raise their prices. They're the ones that thought they could only run leagues. They're the ones that thought they could just do 5 nights a league and that would be plenty. That's not how business works today. Bowling has evolved, bowling has changed, and businesses that are actually making the changes and adapting for those changes, creating a fun environment, creating more than just one thing to do in a center, having arcades, having laser tag, having mini golf outside, those centers are doing the best. Whether you like it or not, I know there's a lot of traditional bowlers that are like, oh, a bowling alley should be just a bowling alley. Sorry, can't run that way anymore. They cannot operate as simply bowling centers anymore. The traditional centers are dying because they're not adapting and doing what they should do to get the outside bowlers, the recreational bowlers, and turning them into league bowlers. We've done an awful job over the years turning the rec bowlers, the open bowlers into league bowlers. And now that some places actually are doing that and creating these fun leagues, you've got the league bowlers, the more competitive league bowlers complaining about those leagues, saying, "Oh, they get in the way, they make a mess, and why do they get the good time slots for leagues and whatever it may be that you're complaining about? You're complaining about these leagues, but yet you can't fill your own league." Well, we need to be actually supporting those fun leagues, trying to create better bowlers out of them, giving them opportunity to practice and become better, so that way then they want to join some of these more competitive leagues. But when these bowlers come over to a competitive league and they got to deal with dipshit down the road or over on lane 3, mad because he didn't get 3 lanes of courtesy, and this guy's looking at him like, dude, really? Of course these guys are just going to be like, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm going to go back to my fun league where nobody cared about the lane courtesy and we could just have fun and just bowl. Or you got dipshit down on the other side now complaining because there's a little music going. Really? Like, what is this? Is this 1970? Are we stuck in this? Like, I really, a lot of these people, they're so nonsensical. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, okay, kind of done with that rant for a second. Let me see if I can't find another comment here. Let's see here. Who's paying $8 lineage? I'm paying $16. Yeah, I know. I just use that as a number because that's what it was for a while. $16. What is that? A little over $5 a game. Still not bad, if you ask me. Here's another one for you. Bolero has demonstrated that they don't care about league bowlers. In my area, in one center that I know well, they chased the leagues and the pro shop, turned it into a video arcade out the door, and went 100% recreational. This went on for a year or so until someone apparently noticed that the place was empty most of the time. Now they are trying to get their leagues back, and the pro shop is back. I know people who did go back. Nothing but poor reviews. I have heard prices, lane conditions, etc. In fairness, some of their other centers are better, but if they can't control their own establishments somehow, I can't think of it as a good fit or a venture of this kind. I partially agree. I do think terrible management has destroyed some of the centers, but I think Bolero initially was going to go down that path, and they thought that they could make every center a family fun center, when that's just not the case. That's not the case at all. Not every center can be a family fun center. Some of them have to be traditional centers, or some of them have to be a solid mixture. I think most of them have to be a solid mixture. Some can be more league than open play because you're just in a smaller town or something. And some can be mostly open play with less league, and some can be all strictly open play. It depends on the demographic. It depends on where you are. A case like that where they shut all the leagues down and then all of a sudden they couldn't run because they didn't have enough business, that's silly. I think that's a really silly thing to do. I think you could have just gotten rid of leagues on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and been fine. But unfortunately, some of these places just make bad decisions. Does it come from the top down? Maybe. Maybe they say this is our blue book. This is our book of here's how we're going to do things. If it doesn't work, we'll change. And I think they're actually modifying a lot of that now, which is why they're starting to look at the league bowlers a little bit more. They're starting to realize that you can't just run a center as open play only. Otherwise you open at 6 o'clock each day and you close at midnight and you're done. Because what are you going to do the rest of the day? Now you got that much square footage just sitting there for tons of hours that you could be operating, running senior leagues, running, family fun leagues and stuff that, kids bowl free and, all that types of stuff in the afternoons, or even in the mornings. I, that's just poor management, in my opinion. The cleaning of the places is poor management. The operation of the machines is poor management, poor delegation onto mechanics, having mechanics that know what they're doing, paying mechanics enough to know what they're doing. All of these things are just, those are local management issues. The corporation can make the changes in the local areas, but a lot of the times, with all the centers that they have, it's very, very difficult to actually oversee most of those centers and see what they're doing. What they're doing, or they're looking at the bottom line. They're looking at the numbers and making changes based on the numbers. So it's tough. So if you've got a center that is doing okay and they're profiting a little bit each year, most times they're going to look at that and say, they're doing okay, let's leave it be. When it's a situation where it's like, okay, well, you could bring a few more leagues in, your profit could go that much higher, or you could eliminate a league on this night and your profits could go higher because you have more open play on it. Like it's hard to oversee that much. So that's why it's so important to have, good management, actually putting good managers in centers who can do both, who understand bowling and can run leagues along with open play. And here's another one. No way members are going to be okay with sanction dues helping the PBA. Why? Again, don't you understand that if there's a viable PBA, if the PBA and the bowlers and the PBA are making good money, bowling gets better? Like, I mean, I it's the trickle down thing, man. Like, I guess I don't understand. Like, so we want to put all this money and keep all the money in the lower, like all at, I mean, I understand leagues and stuff, but so you want all the money to be put into leagues so these people make, that's the opposite of how this works. That is the opposite of how this works. I guess I'm, those types of comments just, I mean, I know there will be people that believe that and they say, okay, well, I don't want to give money to support the pros. What good does that do me? Again, small mind thinking. I think that's short term thinking. People aren't paying much attention to how this really works and how to grow the sport as a whole. I mean, one little decision isn't going to make this whole thing happen, but over time, as things get better, we can grow, we can get better. All right, and then we've got Bolero should turn the damn lights on during open play. I mean, sometimes. Yeah, I don't think they need to be having Cosmic every night, but if they're getting better money by having, or if they're attracting people into bowl with the Cosmic lights, it's tough to turn them on. I mean, maybe they could be better about saying, okay, open play lights are on until 7 p.m. and then after that they put the the lights on or whatever, put the Cosmic lights on for to attract the bowlers. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a compromise that needs to be made there. Um, but anyway, that's kind of the majority of what I'm seeing there. I just kind of wanted to touch on some of these things. Oh, what about youth bowling? Bolero isn't addressing that. And I think, again, my opinion on the whole youth bowling thing was it was a crash and burn on BPAA and USBC's part when they started doing this whole training the FEC centers, training centers to become FECs. I went to that course. I went to the BPAA course learning about, creating party scenes, creating the more fun atmosphere for bowling centers, which was a good course, but unfortunately, a lot of those courses they're teaching that the bowling center has to take care of everything, that the owner and manager needs to take care of everything if you want to increase your bottom line, which that's true. But at the end of the day, you're hurting a lot of things. Youth leagues was one of them because one of the first people to go were the youth coordinators, the youth directors. A lot of centers got rid of those people, and those people were going to schools with flyers, advertising about the youth leagues, giving these kids something to do on Saturday mornings, places parents could take their kids to get some activity in, a cheaper option than playing hockey or any of those sports that cost a ton of money for equipment and pads and all that stuff. Sure, you're going to spend money on bowling balls and stuff, but in the beginning, youth leagues and stuff, $100 for a ball at that time, $115 for a plastic ball. Let them use a house ball. I mean, whatever. They don't have to buy their own equipment, but that's just added bonus. If you want them to get into it and get better, then you can. But I think that when the youth directors were kind of burned and basically said we don't need you anymore, that was a problem. We saw that where I'm from, up in Gaylord, Michigan, when they kind of pretty much told Roberta Green, who was our youth director, she's now passed, but she did a pretty good job, along with like Lisa Baker and Joe Kirkhart. I know those names probably don't mean anything to you guys, but they were local people in my area that helped a lot with the youth bowlers. They were coaches that they helped grow youth bowling. When I was in youth bowling, we had a couple different shifts of leagues that went every single Saturday. There was an eight more. There was three. I think there was 2 leagues at one time, and then there was a couple other ones that went on at the same time too. So yeah, I think it was a big mistake getting rid of the youth directors and all that. But again, all this is basically my opinion based on what I've seen, from managing and from being a part of it all. So you can take it as you want, but I just wanted to touch on some of these comments and stuff, just because we can. Why not have the conversation? And I'm not calling anybody out. Like, I'm just saying, if I don't agree with you, I'm going to tell you I don't agree with you, and I'm going to tell you why. I do think some of them are nonsensical. Some of them just don't make sense to me when you're making these comments just because you don't like an organization. Like, it's just really, really weird to me. But anyway, I'm out of here. Hope you guys have a good day, and we will see you guys next time.